Norcross.
Thank you, Chairman, very much for yielding and especially for holding this hearing. And to Chairman Wahlberg, this is an incredibly important question to virtually every family in the United States. The first question is, what do you want to do when you grow up? Which turns into, whether it's 9th, 10th, 11th grade, are you going to college? With the assumption is that's the first and best and only answer in so many ways. Do you want to go to college? Well, the fact of the matter is, for every parent having that discussion with their child is, do you want to go to college? Do you want to serve your nation and go into the military? Or do you want to go to a trade school? Because at the end of the day, whether it's college, military, it's what is your career? What is going to be your job? Student loans, I say it all the time, is one of the greatest things we ever done and one of the worst things we've ever done. Because for parents who care so much about their children, they want to do what's right by them. To pay $80,000 to go to college for 1 year. First of all, let's back up. We talk about, like, every child knows, I want to go to college, and this is what I want to do. I would love to see the statistics of asking that child what job or career that they're going for and where do they end up. If we hit 50-50, I would be surprised. And this is, the reason I'm bringing this up is having that discussion with the parents and the child of what the true costs are is incredibly important. Nobody's mentioned community college. Is this what I want to do? Because that is the most affordable, accessible for any child. And then move into a 4-year and go on. But the idea that so often they want to chase that picture that they see, it's a great sports team, and listen, we just came off a great weekend of watching sports for college football. And how many children pick those schools simply because of the academic program or the sports programs? So true cost is such a relevant issue. Earlier in your testimony, you talked about the net cost. When you just talked about the funding for higher education, you said it went up. Of course it does. Everybody raises it. But what is the true cost against inflation? That would absolutely change it. So A, having the right information, calling it the right thing, that terminology is so important. We can do this, and I am very much focused on that. The terminology and the basic costs for college. You talked about repeatedly. You can buy the Chevy or you can buy the Cadillac. And we need to address those issues to go through the school. And the idea of saying there should be a cost guarantee, if it's 2-year college, your cost there. So we're having a great discussion for something that ends up being the biggest decision in many people's life, other than getting married and having children. This is so important that we consider what takes place at the time of these decisions, because it impacts the parents who might have to help the child, and it certainly is going to impact that child making that decision. So, transparency. Ms. Layden, talk to me about when this child and this parent are making a decision, what goes into making that decision that impacts? Are they actually looking like, gee, to go there, it's going to cost me $500,000 to send you there for something that you may or may not do? When we're talking about transparency and the terminology, also the decision-making, what goes into that in the studies that you've been a part of? How do the parents and child actually make that decision?
Ideally, they should be making that decision with really good information and really good, complete, and honest data. And right now, they're not. And just to be a little bit crude about it, it's garbage in, garbage out in terms of if you have really misleading information that is on these financial aid offers. In our research, we have found, in addition to some of the issues that I mentioned at the top, there are colleges that will list loans, like Parent Plus loans, and put them as if they are gifts, as if they are awards that they do not have to pay back. One of my favorite and horrible examples is there's a college, there was a letter that at the very bottom of it, it had all of the grants and loans and things, and at the very bottom of it, it said, your out-of-pocket cost is zero, which is amazing. That's great. I don't have to pay anything to go to college. But in that letter, Parent Plus loans of $27,000 were listed. Student loans were listed, but they were like P plus. Who knows what P plus is? Do you know what well, you know what P plus is? Everybody in this committee knows what P plus is, but most people don't know what that is. And that's because the information is, I will disagree with my colleague Justin here a little bit about whether or not it's intentionally deceptive. I think for some colleges it's not, and I think for some colleges it is, because this tool is both helping students try to understand the cost of college, but it's a marketing tool for schools to recruit students.
I yield back.